All right, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Thomas, and I do educational stuff on this channel. Today's video is number 133 of the Reciprocal System of Theory series. And the Reciprocal System of Theory is a theory that was invented by Dewey B. Larson, all the way from when he had his first intuitions about this in about 1930 up until his death in 1990. The system has been carried forward since then by a number of other people who have made great contributions. Right now, the basic idea of the system, it's a theory of everything. It's a system of theory, meaning that it is something that you can learn yourself and you can apply it yourself to any subject that you want. And so Larson applied it to many subjects, including physics, chemistry, astronomy, economics, metaphysics, dream interpretation, and other things. But you can apply it to, underwater basket weaving or, physical fitness or U.S. history or any other subject that you can think of. Once you get a handle on the system, and then you have to kind of think inductively about how to approach your subject. But it's very liberating and empowering because once you do get the system, then you're no longer dependent upon the experts to tell you what you're supposed to believe about things. You can actually figure these things out for yourself. It's not easy, but it's easier than, having to have myocarditis, for the rest of your life, or, have fluoride poisoning or something like that. So, if you have the power within you, then you can make, much better decisions about your own life. Okay, now we are just started the first chapter of this new book that is called Nothing But Motion. The basic gist of Larson's system is that he believes in a universe of motion, not a universe of matter, not a universe of energy, but a universe of motion. Matter and energy are merely two specific kinds of motion, in fact. And motion for Larson was the relationship between space and time. This relationship is a reciprocal relationship, a generalized reciprocal relationship. And that's what he starts with. And then he develops an entire theoretical universe from that's his first initial postulate. His second postulate really has to do with the geometry of the universe and the mathematics. And that has been contested by some of his followers, and I think for good reason. And Larson admits that the second postulate is more of a convenience than anything else. The first postulate is where the meat of the situation, and through that first postulate, he derived an entire theoretical universe that he built up through deductive reasoning. And we're going to kind of go through a lot of that universe here. I also did about 15 videos back about 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago, that are called The Outline of the Deductive Development of the Reciprocal System, which is a talk he gave, and he covers his deductive development in granular detail, step by step there. Here it's more generalized, but we'll start here. He just got done talking about how nobody's ever tried anything like this before, and he does the system itself does things that other theories didn't even consider to be possible before. And so this is where we'll start. And this one paragraph may be a repeat, but then we'll get into the new material. Such a finding, which makes conventional thinking about physical fundamentals obsolete, is no more welcome today than the matter concept was in the world of antiquity. Old habits of thought, like old shoes, are comfortable, but the automatic reaction to any suggestion of a major change in basic ideas is resisted, if not outright resented. But if scientific progress is to continue, it is essential not only to generate new ideas to meet new problems, but also to be equally diligent in discarding old ideas that have outlived their usefulness. There's no actual need for any additional evidence to confirm the conclusion that the currently accepted concept of a universe of matter is erroneous. The observed interconvertibility of matter and non-matter is in itself a complete and conclusive refutation of the assertion that matter is basic. But when the inescapable finality of the answer that we get from this interconvertibility forces recognition of the complete collapse of the concept of a universe of matter, and we can no longer accept it as valid, it is easy to see that this concept has many other shortcomings that should have alerted the scientific community to question its validity long ago. Now, just in case you're not following this, he's saying that, E equals mc squared, Einstein's equation that converts matter to energy and vice versa. That matter can be converted into energy, energy can be converted into matter, means implicitly that neither one of those two things can be the most fundamental thing, because there's something that underlies both of them. And that is really the c squared part. That is the speed of light squared, or motion. Matter, energy equals matter times the speed of light squared. That equation basically destroys the concept of a universe of matter. And it also destroys the concept of a universe of energy. Neither one of those things could be the most fundamental thing if E equals mc squared. Okay. The most obvious weakness of the concept is that the theories that are based upon it have not been able to keep abreast of progress in the experimental and observational fields. Major new physical discoveries almost invariably come as surprises. Unexpected and even unimagined surprises, in the words of Richard Schlegel. They were not anticipated on theoretical grounds and cannot be accommodated to existing theory without some substantial modification of previous ideas. Indeed, it is doubtful whether any modification of existing theory will be adequate to deal with some of the more recalcitrant phenomena now under investigation. The current situation in particle physics, for instance, is admittedly chaotic. The outlook might be different if the new information that is rapidly accumulating in this field were gradually clearing up the situation, but in fact it merely seems to deepen the existing crisis. If anything in this area of confusion is clear by this time, it is that the elementary particles are not elementary. But the basic concept of a universe of matter requires the existence of some kind of an elementary unit of matter. If the particles that are now known are not elementary units, as is generally conceded, then, since no experimental confirmation is available for the hypothesis of subparticles, the whole theory of the structure of matter as it now stands is left without visible support. Another prime example of the inability of present-day theories based on the matter concept to cope with new knowledge of the universe is provided by some of the recent discoveries in astronomy. Here, the problem is an almost total lack of any theoretical framework to which the newly observed phenomena can be related. A book published a few years ago that was designed to present all of the significant information then available about the astronomical objects known as quasars contains the following statement, which is still almost as appropriate as when it was written. Quote, it will be seen, it will be seen from the discussion in later chapters that there are so many conflicting ideas concerning theory and interpretation of the observations that at least 95% of them must indeed be wrong. But at present, no one knows which 95%. End quote. Back to Larson. After 3,000 years of study and investigation on the basis of theories founded on the matter concept, we are entitled to something more than this. Nature has a habit of confronting us with the unexpected, and it is not very reasonable to expect the currently prevailing structure of physical theory to give us an immediate and full account of all details of a new area, but we should at least be able to place the new phenomena in their proper places with respect to the general framework, and to account for their major aspects without difficulty. The inability of present-day theories to keep up with experimental and observational progress along the outer boundaries of science is the most obvious and easily visible sign of their inadequacies. But it is generally significant that some of the most basic physical phenomena are still without any plausible explanations. This embarrassing weakness of the current theoretical structure is widely recognized and is the subject of comment from time to time. For instance, a press report of the annual meeting of the American Physical Society in New York in February 1969 contains this statement. A number of very distinguished physicists who spoke reminded us of long-standing mysteries, some of them problems so old that they are becoming forgotten, pockets of resistance left far behind the advancing frontiers of science. We keep pushing forward with this matter concept or this energy concept, even though it's not answering the questions. And now he's saying some of the problems are so old that they're becoming forgotten. So we just push them under the rug a little bit further and forget that our theory does not solve these problems. But we go on with the theory nonetheless, because there are people getting paid to teach it, and they are endowed, they are invested in this particular theory, and so they refuse to look at other theories. The scientific community right now is crumbling, and it's crumbling under the weight of their hubris, and eventually, when it does finally crumble, Larson's theory will be able to fill the void if enough people understand it. But the garbage that's being peddled to us by the guys in the white lab coats in the fields of medicine, engineering, but especially medicine, physics, and astronomy, it's all a crock, okay? They are lying to us. They are maybe not lying to us on purpose. I'm sure some of them are. Some of them are just people who are very stubborn, people who are very arrogant, people who think that they know it all, and so they have nothing. Somebody like me who doesn't have a scientific degree, doesn't have standing with them, and so I can say things, until the cows come home, but they won't listen because I'm just a stupid layperson. Or, in fact, Dewey Larson is a stupid layperson, even though he does have some scientific credentials. And, I mean, I do have a PhD, but it's just not in the field that they want me to have it in. But it is in U.S. history, and therefore I'm able to evaluate, the history of this science. And the history is very, very suspect. So, moving forward, of examples of where the theory of matter, universe of matter, goes false flat. Gravitation is a good example. It is unquestionably fundamental, but conventional theory cannot explain it. As has been said, it, quote, may well be the most fundamental and least understood of the interactions. When a book or an article on this subject appears, we almost invariably find the phenomena characterized either in the title or in the introductory paragraphs as a mystery, an enigma, or a riddle. But what is gravity, really? What causes it? Where does it come from? How does it get started? The scientist has no answers. This is a quote from Dean Wooldridge. In a fundamental sense, it is still as mysterious and inexplicable as it ever was, and it seems destined to remain so. So not only is this person admitting that they have no idea what gravity is or where it comes from, but it seems destined to remain so. So it's pretty much like, we're shoving this down your throat and there's nothing you can do about it. You're never going to know what gravity is. It's always going to be a mystery for you. I don't really care if somebody comes and gives me the answers. I'm not going to take them, because it'll cost me my job. Electromagnetic radiation, this is back to Larson. Electromagnetic radiation, another of the fundamental physical phenomena, confronts us with a different but equally disturbing problem. Here, there are two conflicting explanations of the phenomena, each of which fits the observed facts in certain areas but fails in others. A paradox which James B. Conant observed, quote, once seemed intolerable, although scientists have now learned to live with it. This, too, is a deep mystery, as Richard Feynman calls it, at the very base of the theoretical structure. But scientists have learned to live with it. We don't understand this, and that's you just deal with it, I don't care if somebody else comes along with the answers. We're not listening to them. Okay? Just deal with it. Okay. Back to Larson. There is a widespread impression that Einstein solved the problem of the mechanism of the propagation of radiation and gave a definitive explanation of the phenomenon. It may be helpful, therefore, to note just what Einstein did have to say on this subject, not only as a matter of clarifying the present status of the radiation problem itself, but to illustrate the point made by Percival Bridgman when he observed that many of the ideas and opinions to which the ordinary scientist subscribes, quote, have not been thought through carefully, but are held in the comfortable belief that someone must have examined them at some time. This, again, is a great parallel with our society and where we're at right now. Especially people who pay attention to media, especially like the news and stuff, and they just assume that somebody must have checked this stuff before. It's lasted the test of time. People have been believing this for a long time. It doesn't matter whether it's even really the current news or like the inherited beliefs, like the Bible or something. Nobody tells us where this comes from. What is this? What am I reading right now? But we are, again, quoting Einstein, or this is actually Bridgman. These ideas have not been thought through carefully, but are held in the comfortable belief that someone must have examined them at some time. Somebody must have, uh, you know, looked at this Bible and verified the sources, verified who wrote what, but we have to just accept that. That's not something that we are allowed to really question. You know, you ask somebody, where did this Bible come from? Like, what? It's freely accessible. It's something that I'm supposed to know about, and that has been shoved down my throat for the first how many ever years of my life. And but nobody's telling me what its origin is, where it came from. I'm red-pilled. I don't accept sources like that. You need to tell me. I need to discover for myself eventually where this came from and what its angle is, why it's so readily accessible. But instead, I get answers like the Bible is the Word of God. That's not good enough. I don't believe you, and you shouldn't believe you either. Okay, sorry to rant about that and kind of get off topic, but I think, this applies whether you're, on the right or on the left, or whether you're talking about mass media or whether you're talking about the Bible. I need something better than both of them. Okay, and that's why I follow the reciprocal system, even though I don't exactly know where I'm going with it. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.